Namaskar. So, in this series of BSc IPF year ender 2020, a year of a crisis, lessons of a lifetime, we have covered four videos. This is the fifth video. It's a 10 video series where we are talking about the learnings from this 1 year 2020, which nobody would have expected that such a year we would be seeing in our lifetimes, and mostly people would say that we don't want to see another year like this. But having said that, there are a lot of learnings from this, be it how the dollar behaved, how currencies behaved, how crude behaved. So we have seen all of that in the earlier videos. Now we are at that point that in March April 2020, when all hell broke loose all over the world, and governments and central banks were just trying to find one solution after another. So one thing they all agreed upon was that let's provide liquidity, let's calm the sentiments, because in India the VIX had gone to like 80 levels. That's the in the stock markets, that's like the fear indicator. Earlier it used to be 30, and 30 used to be max fear. I mean, it can go above 30, nobody had imagined. But in March, when the Sensex hit lower circuit, the VIX, Nifty VIX was at 80 levels. So that was the type of panic which had gripped the bear markets, had gripped markets all over the world. And then came these heroes all over the world, central bankers, without their capes. But what they did was really they cooled sentiments, and at the same time they started a rally which even they wouldn't have imagined in all asset classes. In fact, after a few months after this crisis, in the third or fourth quarter, RBI governor himself said that the stock markets have run up ahead of the fundamentals and a correction is likely. So from a time where there was a fear of markets going down, crashing, hitting lower circuits, to a fear that it's got overvalued, we saw all of that in this single year. And that happened because in March April 2020, global banks, and in our specific to our discussion, RBI, which was widely RBI's moves was referred to as bazooka. It's this weapon, you fire that weapon against tanks and stuff like that. So RBI fired it bazooka. And what was it bazooka? It was this liquidity. RBI said, don't worry, we will provide as much liquidity as the system needs. So if there are illiquid papers, corporate papers, who nobody wants, then, and if there is a redemption pressure, then we will provide liquidity by LTROs, long term repo operation. So we will see what all that was. That's a fantastic learning which we must take from this video, from this crisis. A crisis is too precious to be wasted. So see what happened. 100 basis points is 1%. So before the crisis, government securities were trading at 7%, AAA bonds were at close to 8%, and AA, slightly riskier ones, were at 8.66. So the yield spreads, here was around 166 basis points, and here it was around 95 basis points. Yield spreads are showing you how much is the risk which is being priced into the yield. So the risk of default, the keyword here is credit risk or risk of default. Let us write down credit risk oblique risk of default. That means you give me money on loan and I don't repay your loan, so that's I've defaulted. So there, the pricing of that risk depending upon my credit rating. So before, the credit spread for AAA was 95 basis points, the credit spread for AA was 166 basis point. A credit spread is always measured with respect to the risk-free rate or the benchmark rate. Now let's understand why these credit fears emanated from, where, what happened. And the word we have to look out for is moratorium. There was moratorium for clients. And what is moratorium? It means that those who have taken housing loans or any sort of loans, they need not pay EMI for 3 months or 6 months. And that led to because that's unheard of, and that led to shock waves. So what happened? Try to understand. Let's say there's a bank, let's say there's an NBFC, and this NBFC has borrowed some money either from a bank or by issuing some CPCD sort of a paper to some mutual fund. So some mutual fund has given 100 rupees to this NBFC, and this mutual fund has bought the papers of this NBFC. This is the first part. Now what does the NBFC as 7%? So the interest rate was 7%. So simple deal. After 1 year, the NBFC will return 100 rupees to the mutual fund, and the mutual fund will also get 7%, 7 rupees as interest on the 100 rupees. What will the NBFC do with that 100 rupees? The NBFC will give 10 people 10 rupees loans at whatever rate, 8%, 9%, whatever rate it wants to give. Why? Because that is the earning of the NBFC. So it will borrow at 7, maybe lend at 8 or lend at 9, and whatever is the difference, that the NBFC will pocket. So it's a nice system. It keeps working. Now, the moment this moratorium word came, these NBFCs were in a spot of bother, because these investors, they were saying, look, whatever happens, we want our money back. After 1 year, we want our 100 rupees back. And then NBFC was like, from where will I pay your interest or your principal? Because, and it's not like I want to default or I am a bad sort of a company or a bad management. See, you have to understand the first two videos where the India's liquidity was, the bond markets were facing liquidity and the issues about integrity because of 2 or 3 big high profile defaults, and then not to mention the banking scams which had PSU banking scams which had rocked. So all that, and on the top of that, suddenly these NBFCs are in a position where they have to repay, but they are not going to earn. So from where will they earn, and what will happen? So because of that, what happened was, these investors who were having these papers, they got panicked. And they said, look, I am ready to invest, I am ready to sell even my 100 rupee paper at 90 rupees. I don't mind, at least I'll get 90 rupees back, because if this NBFC defaults, I'm not going to get anything. So at least 90 rupees is fine. And therefore what happened was, prices of NBFCs crashed. I mean of these bond papers crashed. And because of that, what happened was, the yields, you can see, earlier the NBFC was paying 7% on 100 rupees, so that's 7 rupees. Now for this new buyer who bought at, if somebody bought from this mutual fund at 90 rupees, then for that new buyer, he would have still got the 7 rupees on a base of 90. So his return on investment was somewhere like 7.78, so that means higher. So what happened was, yields went up, because so yield and yield spreads went up because of the fear, and it got multiplied because of this credit fears and liquidity crisis. Now this is the first part. Comes in RBI, and RBI says, don't worry, we will if mutual fund, because clients also were afraid, because mutual fund investors saw that mutual funds are having bond papers which are becoming illiquid. So mutual fund investors started redeeming, and suddenly the mutual funds were in a problem, because they had assets which nobody wanted to buy, and their investors were asking for their money back. So that's where RBI came in, and RBI said, look, don't worry, we have got LTRO as a concept, long-term repo. We don't need to get into details what is LTRO as a process, but LTRO essentially meant that RBI said, we will provide liquidity in such a way that if to mutual funds, that if nobody is buying their bond, buying those bonds which are illiquid, then there can be a mechanism put in place whereby which mutual fund need not worry, and they will get an exit route or something like that. Now this was a good thing, but what happened after that, because RBI provided liquidity, and that's okay, and that soothed the nerves, but what happened was, not all bonds were again bought. I mean, because extra liquidity came in, that doesn't mean that people were buying all bonds left, right, center. Even then it was observed in LTRO operations that only the illiquid PSU bonds were being sought after by all those who were ready to trade the bonds. Nobody wanted to touch AAA, AA sort of a bond, initially at least. Later on, that also started happening. So we have to understand, so what is the lesson we have to take from this, that liquidity, in fact, in one of the speeches, the RBI governor himself said, no less, that liquidity is the lifeline of economies, and RBI's top priority is to ensure that liquidity keeps flowing, and they did that. And because of that, the fears sort of started coming down. But even then, the learning was liquidity is a catalyst and not a solution, in the sense that not all bonds were liquid again, not all yield spreads again. Even today as we speak, yield spreads are still slightly elevated. They were not of 2019 levels. So that is still there. That, and this is one key observation of this crisis, that the bad managements or the low corporate governance managements or the high debt companies, they are punished by this market. So these are the two learnings of this session, that liquidity, yes, we have got a lot of liquidity. We'll devote some sessions to that also. And although liquidity is there, still quality always demands a premium, quality always commands a premium, and not everybody can be benefited by liquidity. Just because liquidity is there, that doesn't mean that your problems are solved. No, bad companies still remain bad companies. So this was the one more session in the series. In the next session, we will see how Sensex stunned everybody with its phenomenal recovery from March lower circuit to December all-time highs. That's in the next session. Thank you very much.